Welcome back to Social Security Post, your trusted channel for all things related to benefits, policy changes, and the financial future of millions of Americans. Today, we're diving into a massive and unexpected decision by the Trump administration that could protect hundreds of thousands of Social Security recipients. For the first time in years, the government has reversed a plan that many feared would reduce monthly checks for seniors already living on fixed incomes. That's right. Plans to garnish up to 15% of your Social Security benefits due to student loan debt have now been scrapped. What does this mean for you, and why did they change their minds on the very day garnishments were supposed to begin? Stick around. We'll break it all down, explore what's really going on behind the scenes, and look ahead at what might still be coming next. Before we start, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Social Plus, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a critical update that could affect your benefits or your wallet. Now let's get into it. In a stunning policy reversal, the Trump administration has announced it will no longer pursue garnishments of Social Security benefits from those who defaulted on federal student loans. This decision impacts over 450,000 older Americans who were previously at risk of seeing up to 15% of their monthly payments vanish. Originally, this plan was part of a broader strategy to restart federal student loan collections, which had been paused since the COVID-19 era. The administration had stated it would resume those efforts on April 21, signaling the end of grace periods for borrowers in default. But on the very day those garnishments were set to begin, the administration made a complete U-turn. This sudden shift has major implications, not just for those receiving retirement checks, but also for survivors, widows, and disabled Americans who rely on Social Security as their main or only source of income. For many, losing even a small percentage of their benefits would have meant skipping meals, missing medical appointments, or struggling to pay rent. The administration acknowledged this in their updated statement, claiming they're committed to protecting recipients who live on fixed incomes. The reversal also shows the power of public pressure. Advocacy groups, media outlets, and legal aid organizations all pushed back on the policy, warning it would create a humanitarian and political crisis. The administration, already under scrutiny for budget and entitlement issues, seemed to listen, at least for now. Prior to the reversal, the Trump administration's policy allowed for garnishing up to 15% of Social Security payments for seniors who defaulted on student loans. For someone receiving a monthly benefit of $1,300, that's a reduction of nearly $200 every single month. This garnishment was possible because of the federal government's expansive powers to collect debt. Through the Treasury Offset Program, the government can seize tax refunds, wages, and yes, even Social Security payments to recover unpaid debts. These actions don't require court approval and can be implemented quickly, which made them all the more alarming for recipients who may not even know they're in default. More than 5 million federal student loan borrowers are over the age of 50. Of those, over 450,000 are age 62 and older and already receiving benefits. Many of these seniors took out loans decades ago for themselves or to help children or grandchildren attend college. Some never fully repaid those loans, and with compound interest and penalties, their balances ballooned. The original garnishment plan was quietly included in efforts to address the massive $1.6 trillion federal student loan portfolio, but it didn't account for the human cost. Vulnerable seniors, many of whom are already dealing with chronic illness, high rent, or disability, being hit with yet another blow. The biggest winners in this decision are low-income seniors, especially those over 62 who are on Social Security retirement, SSDI, or survivor benefits and are in default on federal student loans. This includes disabled veterans and individuals who have faced job instability or medical hardship and simply couldn't keep up with loan payments. For these individuals, their monthly Social Security check often covers rent, food, utilities, and medication. A 15% cut could have pushed many into homelessness or forced them to choose between groceries and life-saving prescriptions. Now, thanks to the reversal, that risk has been at least temporarily avoided. It's not just about protecting individuals, it's about protecting entire communities. When seniors suffer financially, it places strain on local health systems, food banks, and social services. State and federal lawmakers know this. They also know that cutting Social Security benefits, even for loan recovery, can trigger public backlash, especially in an election year. This change also signals a subtle but important shift. The administration is trying to balance debt recovery with economic stability. They're aware that too much pressure on fixed income recipients could create a crisis that costs more than it saves. To understand the full magnitude of this issue, you need to look at the numbers. The United States currently holds over $1.6 trillion in outstanding student loan debt. While much of the attention focuses on younger borrowers, there's a growing crisis among seniors. More than 3 million Americans over the age of 60 owe student loans, and nearly 500,000 of them are in default. Many took out loans late in life, either to pursue a new career, cover rising tuition for a child, or refinance older education debt. Some borrowed as co-signers or through plus loans for their children's education, which left them liable when repayment went south. As their health declined or incomes dropped in retirement, staying current became nearly impossible. Because of how federal loan repayment systems work, even a small missed payment can lead to default. And once default occurs, the government can tap into Social Security benefits, tax refunds, or wages. It's a snowball effect that disproportionately hurts seniors who are the least financially equipped to fight back. This population also has the hardest time recovering. They often face age discrimination in the job market, struggle with technology barriers, or have physical and mental health limitations that reduce their ability to appeal or renegotiate payment terms. That's why the Trump administration's reversal is not just a political move, it's a lifeline for hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people. So what prompted this sudden about-face by the Trump administration? The answer is layered: political optics, public pressure, and economic strategy. Initially, the administration was adamant about restarting debt collections, including garnishments, arguing it was necessary to help reduce national debt and resume normal operations post-COVID. However, media reports began highlighting real stories of elderly Americans losing part of their checks, skipping meals, or falling behind on rent. Social media amplified these stories. Legal aid organizations and senior advocacy groups raised red flags, warning of massive public backlash. Economically, it was becoming clear that the costs of enforcement might outweigh the gains. Clawing back money from seniors could result in increased demand for public housing, food stamps, and emergency health care, costs that would ultimately fall back on the federal budget. Politically, Trump has promised repeatedly not to cut Social Security benefits. If the administration followed through with garnishments, that could be interpreted as a broken promise, especially by voters age 60 and up, one of the most active voting demographics in America. So on the very day the garnishments were supposed to start, the administration reversed course and reaffirmed its commitment to protecting Social Security recipients. Let's be clear, the reversal doesn't mean the government has given up on collecting the money. It's simply not using Social Security garnishments for now. That's an important distinction. If you're under 62 or still working, the government still has broad authority to seize your tax refund, garnish your wages, or place liens on assets in some cases. Even Social Security disability beneficiaries who are under age 62 may still be vulnerable if future changes are made. The Treasury Offset Program is still fully operational and allows for automatic interception of refunds and other payments to satisfy federal debts. If you're in default and you receive a tax refund next year, don't be surprised if it disappears before you see it. This is why it's so important for people to explore programs like income-driven repayment or Fresh Start initiatives, especially if they've fallen behind. Getting out of default isn't easy, but it is possible. The best thing you can do is act early. Don't wait for a notice of garnishment. By that time, it's often too late. While this temporary pause is good news, the government is still sending a message. We will get the money. We're just going to take it from places that won't cause a political firestorm. One of the underreported reasons behind the aggressive push to restart collections is the ongoing national debt ceiling debate. The federal government is under immense pressure to justify any increase in borrowing. The Trump administration's One Big Beautiful Bill is facing opposition from key lawmakers like Senator Rand Paul, who refuses to vote on new spending until major reductions or offsets are made. One of those offsets is student loan recovery. If the government can prove it's reclaiming billions from unpaid federal loans, it strengthens the argument for raising the debt ceiling. That's why restarting collection efforts, even symbolically, was important politically. However, they hit a wall when it came to garnishing seniors' benefits, which was a step too far. The tension here is clear. Lawmakers want to avoid a debt default, but they don't want to appear heartless or disorganized. With elections approaching, the optics matter just as much as the numbers. That's why the administration had to strike a delicate balance between appearing fiscally responsible and avoiding public backlash. While this recent reversal is making headlines, there's a bigger and potentially more impactful discussion happening in Washington right now. Lawmakers, especially House Republicans, are working on three major reconciliation bills, and all of them could bring significant changes to Social Security. Let's walk through the three biggest proposals currently being discussed. First, there's the possibility of eliminating federal taxes on Social Security benefits. This would be a massive win for retirees. Under current law, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be taxed if your total income crosses certain thresholds. The new proposal would exempt Social Security from federal taxation altogether. So while your pension or job income would still be taxed, your benefits would stay untouched. That's a real increase in spendable income every month. Second, there's the proposal to switch how the cost of living adjustment is calculated. Currently, COLA is based on the CPI-W, Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, which doesn't accurately reflect the spending patterns of seniors. Lawmakers are now considering a switch to CPI-E, a formula specifically designed for older Americans. If adopted, this could result in larger annual increases in benefits that keep pace with rising medical costs, housing, and inflation. Third, there's a growing push to raise the Social Security tax cap. Right now, workers only pay Social Security taxes on income up to $168,600. This means high-income earners stop contributing once they hit that amount. Raising this cap would bring in billions in new funding without raising taxes on low or middle-income workers. It could be the key to extending the program's solvency beyond 2035. These proposals are all part of a broader discussion about protecting Social Security for the long haul. And while they're not guaranteed to pass, they show that both parties are aware of the pressure to act before it's too late. So what does all of this mean for you if you're currently retired or approaching retirement? In short, there's reason for cautious optimism. While nothing is set in stone, this garnishment reversal and the broader policy conversations around benefits, COLA, and taxation suggest that lawmakers are finally listening to the millions of Americans who depend on Social Security. For many, this program isn't just a safety net, it's a lifeline. It covers housing, food, transportation, and medical costs. And for those on a fixed income, even a $20 difference can mean skipping a meal or skipping a prescription refill. The fact that the Trump administration backed down from a policy that would have reduced benefits is a strong sign that politicians now understand the stakes. But there's still risk. The federal government is desperate to recover funds and reduce the national debt. And while garnishments from Social Security are paused, other methods, like seizing tax refunds or wages, are still in play. Plus, the future of reforms depends on partisan politics, budget negotiations, and public pressure. That's why staying informed is your best defense. Knowing what's being proposed and what stage it's in can help you make financial decisions with confidence. Okay, that wraps up today's deep dive on the Trump administration's surprising Social Security decision and what it means for you and your family. We've covered everything from the paused garnishments to the looming debt ceiling fight, and even the future of Social Security reforms that could bring meaningful changes to millions of Americans. Here's what you should take away. If you're a senior, especially one receiving Social Security benefits, you're safe for now. Your check won't be garnished over student loans today, but the federal government is still looking for ways to claw back debt. And more changes, both good and bad, are coming. But by staying aware, asking questions, and knowing your rights, you're in a much better position to protect what you've earned. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to Social Security Post. We're here every day breaking down the laws, reforms, and rumors so you don't have to. Drop a comment below if you have a question or want to share your experience. We read every single one. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.